Here's a look at the odds for Rookie of the Year. According to ESPN Bet, right? This is our expert here, but according to ESPN Bet, Caitlin Clark is a heavy favorite after putting up that triple-double in a win over the Liberty. 19 points, 13 assists, 12 rebounds, and a huge win over the Liberty at home, where Caitlin Clark notched the first triple-double ever by a WNBA rookie and the first in Fever franchise history.
ESPN just dropped a bomb on the WNBA world, but not in a good way. Their latest Rookie of the Year rankings have fans scratching their heads and asking, did they even watch the games? Caitlin Clark's jaw-dropping stats are hidden behind a paywall, while questionable metrics push other rookies to the top. What's really going on here? You might think you know what a standout rookie looks like, but what if everything you thought you knew about rookie performances just got turned on its head? There's a new player in town, and she's not just breaking records, she's shattering them. So why isn't she dominating the rankings? Let's talk about Caitlin Clark. This rookie isn't just good, she's rewriting the WNBA history books. Clark has got more 25-point, 10-assist games than all other rookies in WNBA history combined. That's not a typo. One player outperforming every other rookie who's ever stepped on the court. But wait, there's more. Clark's the first rookie ever to rack up over 450 points and 200 assists in a single season. That's not just impressive, it's unprecedented. We're watching a player who's not just keeping up with the pros, but setting the pace for the entire league. You might be wondering, how good is she really? Well, let's put it this way. Clark set the record for most assists in a single game by a rookie with 19. That's right, 19 assists in one game. And she's not done yet. She's on track to break the single season assist record too. Now, you'd think with stats like these, Clark would be a shoo-in for Rookie of the Year, right? Maybe even in the MVP conversation. Well, hold on to your hats, because this is where things get crazy. Despite these mind-blowing achievements, ESPN's Rookie of the Year rankings have Clark in a surprisingly low position. It's like they're watching a different game. How does a player putting up historic numbers end up anywhere but the top spot? Let's break it down even further. Clark's in some elite company. She's one of only 3 players in WNBA history to record 29 points, 5 rebounds, and 10 assists on 70% shooting multiple times. The other 2? Oh, just a couple of nobodies named Michael Jordan and Steph Curry. Ever heard of them? But here's the kicker. No player in WNBA history has ever averaged 17 points and 8 assists per game over an entire season. Not one. And guess what? Clark's on pace to blow past those numbers. So we've got a rookie who's not just playing well, she's playing at a level we've never seen before. She's breaking records, joining elite clubs, and setting new benchmarks for what's possible in women's basketball. Yet somehow, some way, she's not at the top of ESPN's rankings. This isn't just about one player getting snubbed, it's about how we measure greatness in sports. It's about recognizing when we're witnessing something truly special, because make no mistake, what Caitlin Clark is doing right now is special. Those numbers paint a clear picture, right? Wrong. ESPN's latest rankings have thrown the basketball world into chaos. How can a player breaking records left and right end up so low on the list? The answer might make you question everything you thought you knew about sports stats. Let's talk about ESPN's ranking methodology. They're relying heavily on metrics like win shares and net rating. Sounds fancy, right? But here's the problem. These numbers can seriously distort player evaluations, especially for stars stuck on struggling teams. Take net rating, for example. It's supposed to measure a player's impact, but it's got a major flaw. As one critic put it, net rating is crap. It's affected by team rotations, both your own team and the other team. In other words, your teammates' performance and even your coach's decisions can mess with your rating. How is that fair? And win shares. They're part of a group of advanced metrics that include things like Raptor. These stats try to account for both individual production and team impact. Sounds good on paper, but in reality, they're failing to give us the full picture of a player's performance. You might be wondering, why would ESPN use these flawed metrics? Good question. Some critics are pointing fingers at ESPN's decision to hide these controversial rankings behind a paywall. It's got people asking, is this about accurate player evaluation or is it just a cash grab? But wait, there's more to this story. By relying on these questionable metrics, ESPN isn't just messing up their rankings, they're putting their own credibility on the line. Fans aren't stupid. When the rankings don't match what they're seeing on the court, they're going to start questioning everything ESPN puts out. So what's the solution? We need a more comprehensive approach to evaluate these rookies. We can't just rely on a couple of fancy sounding stats. We need to look at the whole picture. Individual stats, team performance, and the eye test. You know, actually watching the games. Here's an idea. What if we looked at how a player performs in clutch situations? Or their impact on team morale? Or even their marketability and fan engagement. These factors might not fit neatly into a spreadsheet, but they're crucial for understanding a player's true value. And let's not forget about context. A rookie putting up solid numbers on a championship contender is impressive, but a rookie carrying a struggling team on her back? That's next level stuff. Our evaluation methods need to account for these differences. There's also the question of consistency. A player who shows up every night giving 100% should be valued higher than someone who has a few spectacular games but disappears for weeks at a time. Our metrics need to capture this reliability factor. We could also consider a player's versatility. In today's NBA and WNBA, being able to play multiple positions and adapt to different game situations is incredibly valuable. A ranking system that doesn't account for this flexibility is missing a big piece of the puzzle. These messed up rankings aren't just a one-time slip-up. They're a sign of something way bigger happening at ESPN. What if I told you this could change sports media as we know it? You might think this is just about basketball, but it's so much more. ESPN's fumble with these rankings is just one symptom of a disease that's been spreading through sports media for years. We're not just talking about getting a few numbers wrong. We're talking about a network that's supposed to be the gold standard for sports coverage slowly losing its shine. Let's break it down. ESPN's been the big dog in sports media for decades, but lately, they've been slipping. These wonky rankings aren't a one-off. They're part of a pattern that's got fans scratching their heads and reaching for the remote. Think about it. When was the last time you watched ESPN and thought, wow, they really nailed that coverage? If you're struggling to remember, you're not alone. More and more fans are tuning out, tired of coverage that feels out of touch with what's actually happening on the court or field. But here's where it gets really interesting. This isn't just about ESPN losing viewers. It's about the entire landscape of sports media shifting under our feet. When the biggest name in the game starts stumbling, it opens the door for new players to step up. You might be wondering, so what? Why should I care about ESPN's problems? Good question. Here's why it matters. When major networks like ESPN drop the ball, it affects how we all experience sports. It shapes the narratives around players and teams. It influences which athletes get the spotlight and which ones get left in the shadows. And let's talk about women's basketball for a second. The WNBA is growing, gaining new fans every day, but when major networks can't even get their rankings right, it hurts the sport's credibility. It makes it harder for new fans to get invested when they can't trust the coverage they're seeing. So what's the solution? How can sports media evolve to better serve fans and athletes? For starters, we need more diverse voices in the room. We need people who understand the nuances of different sports, who can bring fresh perspectives to the table. We also need more transparency. If ESPN's using complicated metrics to rank players, they need to explain those metrics clearly. No more hiding behind paywalls or fancy jargon. Fans deserve to know how these decisions are being made. But most importantly, we need networks to remember why we watch sports in the first place. It's not about algorithms or analytics. It's about the thrill of competition, the joy of seeing incredible athletes push themselves to the limit. Any coverage that loses sight of that is missing the point. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but can ESPN really change? Are they too big to fail? That's the million-dollar question. The truth is, no network is too big to fail. If ESPN doesn't adapt, if they keep alienating fans with out-of-touch coverage, they might find themselves on the bench while new players take the court.